I had wanted, for a long time to work with Tom Cruise. We had a couple of abortive attempts at working together over the years, but I've known Tom for many, many years, and I've sometimes suggested a project for Tom to do that probably wasn't his exact cup of tea, and a couple of times he's brought things to me.
I remember seeing Jaws, and I'm telling you, when that head came through, the boat underwater, I leapt. I was, over 3 people. I was standing in the aisle, and I saw E.T. with my family. Actually, we were in Jersey. Called my family, said, you gotta see this movie. This is gonna be, something you're never gonna forget. So I want it to be a family experience, and he's given us so many moments, and in my life, so many moments of real cinema joy. That now you sit across from this guy, and he's really an amazing guy. Amazing artist, and also an amazing person. And so, yeah, I wanted to work with him. I think everyone wants to work with Steven, but I had this opportunity, and something that I really relished and cherished every moment that we were doing it. And you see why he is who he is, and how he deserves all the credit that he gets, and I think even more.
He brought me Minority Report about 3 years ago.
I read the script, sent it over to him, because I started seeing a lot of great things, in this film. It's always difficult when you're looking for a film, finding a unique way to tell a story. I love science fiction. I'm home. And I thought it was great. I thought it was really fascinating. So sent it over to Steven.
And I remember reading the script and liking the idea of the film, especially for Tom.
And he got excited about it, and there we went.
I think what happened was we got into that old development situation where we developed, from the Philip K. Dick original story.
The great thing about Philip Dick is his unconnectedness to the world. He never felt that he was a part of the same world that you and I are a part of. And this has to do with a lot of reasons. He came from a troubled background. He had actual physical problems. He had psychological problems. There's a great lore of Philip Dick's troubled history. And my personal connection to him, and what sort of drew me into this story, or into Philip K. Dick's life and vision, is he's uncertain of the world, he's paranoid about the world, which reel is real, and so forth. And one of the themes of Minority Report, the short story, is about seeing, looking into the future. And for me, that was the great insight into how to shape the story into a script. In the story, there's not a lot of world to work with. He doesn't have a lot of gadgets. He doesn't really tell you what his themes are. You don't have a real sense of what the future world looks like. But as soon as I began thinking about the precognitives, I found my theme for the way that I wanted to go at the story, which was sight, eyes. What do you see? What does the hero see? What do the precogs see?
As a writer, I'm very much influenced by those films of the 70s and the 60s, the thrillers that we were doing, because we used to make genre movies for grown-ups. And we don't do that so much anymore. Thrillers are now usually just sort of action movies, and again, they're more conceptual and just sort of not about character. They're people more with attitudes than they are real characters. And we really tried to make a conscious effort to have the people be in this as much as we could, be as real as they could be.
I was coming in and out because I was busy making other movies at the time. And eventually, I read a script that I liked enough to call Tom and say, yeah, I'll do this version with you.
All right, Howard Marks, where are you?
The opening of the film is sort of in an old Georgetown setting, and bit by bit you see these little specks, and then boom, you're inside the temple, and you're like, okay, totally different world.
It's okay.
But the film's based in Washington, D.C., and they're doing sort of this test case, pre-crime is, of having these three psychic beings predict murders that are about to happen, give you the name of the murderer, the name of the person that they're going to kill.
I think all of us would love to know what's just around the corner. We'd all love to know what's going to happen next in the world, in our lives. And it's just kind of a need to know about the unknowable. And I think this story flirts with what if we had the chance to know certain things about the future, especially things that come under the heading of life and death.
Where's my minority report?
Minority report simply means if three precogs agree that someone is guilty and will commit that crime in the future, then that crime will occur. But if one of the precogs dissents and casts a dissenting vote, then it can't be a perfect system, and there must be something wrong with it.
Chad, you getting this? It's a single stream from the female only with no time or incident data. Whatever this is, it isn't the future.
And something so wrong that the system would not be allowed to exist in our nation.
You can't do a movie like this without at least acknowledging what the debate would be around it.
You under arrest for the future murder of Sarah Marks and Donald Dubin that was to take place today, April 22nd. It's 0800 hours, 4 minutes. No, they didn't do anything.
Once you come and arrest me and tell me that tomorrow at 3 o'clock I'm going to kill someone, I haven't done it yet. So am I truly a murderer yet? Just because I've thought of it, does that mean I'm going to actually do it?
We are arresting individuals who have broken no law.
But they will. The commission of the crime itself is absolute metaphysics. The precogs see the future, and they're never wrong.
But it's not the
The
future.
explanation of why it works is that the precogs are never wrong, period. And Anderton takes one of the spheres that the perps' names are engraved on, and he tosses it across the table, and our sort of competitor to Anderton's character, named Danny Whitwer, catches the ball before it hits the ground.
You caught it. The fact that you prevented it from happening doesn't change the fact that it was going to happen.
Well, that's exactly why we know pre-crime works.
If there was a system in place that was infallible, that was basically blessed by the Supreme Court of the United States and voted on in a national referendum by the people of this country, that allows you to, change the Bill of Rights to simply stop a murder from happening. And if there was never a flaw in the system, I would be in favor of that.
After all, who wants a justice system that instills doubt? It may be reasonable, but it's still doubt.
Although it does save a lot of lives, there is that question as well, what about the 0.002% that possibly would have changed their mind, could have changed their mind?
None of us would ever want to see that happen and change the rights that we have fought and died for in this country.
But what about those people that I put away with alternate futures? My God, if the country knew there was a chance.
The system would collapse.
It's a little frightening in some ways to think that it could become a reality, to even think that there might be a so-called thought police that feels that they're putting themselves in a position to second guess what people might be doing.
Positive for Howard Marks.
But I look at it as an A thriller. When I think about Hitchcock thrillers, I think about some of the great thrillers of yesterday. This is right up there with the best of them.
Goodbye, Crow.
Wait!
The best science fiction is based sort of on the fact or even on future facts, and then the imagination gets to springboard from the sort of the facts of the past, the facts of the present, and the facts of the future. And so based on that, I think there's some credibility to the story that we're trying to tell here.
Someone intends to kill his boss or his wife, but they never go through with it. How do the precogs tell the difference?
Precogs have to see what you intend to do, only what you will do.
Anderton, wait!
Goodbye, Crow.
Wait! Anderton, wait!
Chief Anderton, what is this that I'm seeing?
It's a terrific character to play because it's a guy who you think he's basically at the top of his game as a pre-crime cop. and they think he's going to commit a crime. So they start chasing after him, which is always a great way to have a story where a guy's on the run.
He set me up. Just wait. He set me up. Whitworth.
Now he has to discover, is there a flaw in the system, or is he really going to kill this person he's never heard of before, and is the flaw in fact within himself? And that was really what compelled me to want to direct Tom Cruise in this story.
I didn't really do any preparation for it as such because I don't know really anything about being a federal agent, and I didn't have to know that much legalistic jargon or anything like that, so it was just about coming in, I think, in a lot of my scenes with a certain attitude and with a certain confidence that this character has in himself and in his knowledge. The first day I arrived, one of the first things I did was with Cruise and him behind the monitor, and I completely forgot that at some stage in that day I was going to have to look into Tom Cruise's eyes while Steven Spielberg shouted action. I nearly died and I had a meltdown, and I did many takes. But he's just so open, and he seems to see the world while being very incredibly smart through a child's eyes. Oh no, please, don't put me in entertainment. And he gets so excited about ideas, and even if it's one of my ideas and it's mediocre at best, he's like, oh yeah, that's good, try that.
Okay, yeah. Good, here we go.
I find you just want to do the best job you can for him.
Action.
Well, then why can't they see rapes, or assaults, or suicides? Because of the nature of murder.
Good, we got it. Thank you. Next shot. Great.
Reload.
Good.
John, watch this Danny Whitworth, the observer from Justice.
Max von Sydow is our father figure in the story, almost like a surrogate father of Tom Cruise's character.
But would Hinneman know?
Listen, come in.
Security lockdown enabled.
Just tell me, who's Leo Crone?
Cut. Beautiful. Beautiful. Good take, both of you.
There are directors who give orders, who tell the actors what to do. Most actors hate that. At least I do. I want to keep at least some of the initiative. Steven Spielberg belongs to the opposite side. He suggests, he inspires, and leads the actors without the actors really knowing. And he knows the world of the film he is directing so well that he also can improvise, which is wonderful.
With pre-crime going national, maybe we can all look forward to a time when none of us will have to discharge another firearm ever again.
He can improvise within a take and pick up things. Maybe things happen within the take which are not really planned, and he uses it. And he knows also very, very well the language of the camera, the language of film, better than anybody.
We have 3 precogs. Their names are Agatha, Dashiell, and Arthur. Arthur Conan Doyle, Dashiell Hammett, and Agatha Christie, named after them. And those are the names that the government gave these little children who are now in their 20s, but were much younger when the government found out that they possessed, working together, this enormous gift, and used them to fight crime. Samantha Morton plays the precog, Agatha.
She's a child, she's like a newborn baby, but she also has a wisdom far, far beyond her years. She's an oracle. So she sees everything that everyone else sees. She sees people's feelings. She feels people's feelings and emotions. She feels people's pain and suffering. She sees pain and suffering. On the first day, I arrived and we had a talk, or we'd spoken before anyway, but it was kind of, he wanted to give me the freedom to show him where my head was at. And he was really happy with what I did. And then from then on, we just communicated about each moment and what it meant.
John, what the hell just happened?
Acting in the water, it was the hardest thing I've ever done, ever. Because it's kind of, you're dealing with another element that you're not used to as an actor. Even if you've been acting 30 years, stage, radio, movies, TV, nothing prepares you for acting like underwater or in water. And having to be that intense and safety, and it's hard, but you feel a sense of achievement when you've done it. But I'm really glad to be out of that tank. I really am.
Samantha Morton, who plays the female precog, she's got this angelic quality in her. She's kind of an angel. So subsequently, I wanted to reflect that character through lighting. And that's very noticeable in the final scene when we are at the Chesapeake Bay, when we are at the country home, right before Tom is being arrested. During the scene, Samantha tells the story of his son's future. It's a very, very moving sequence. It's a sequence that allows Tom a closure. Her face is kind of bright, kind of burned out. It's almost unreal.
There was so much love in this house.
I want him back so bad.
It's all my fault.
There was nothing anyone could do.
Catherine Morris, I saw in Rod Lurie's film, The Contender. I asked her to play Tom Cruise's estranged wife in Minority Report, and she provides a lot of heart and soul.
You and John ever come here?
We used to, every summer.
He's not here now, is he?
Laura is at a point in her life where they've been separated for several years. They're divorced, John Anderton and Laura Anderton, and you know, things have been so terrible. It was nobody's fault. But when we see Laura, I think she's in a more introverted place. I think a protection place, trying to huddle and recover and trying to do something productive with her life to hang on.
You lose your son, let's see how well you handle it.
So I feel so honored that I get to play this woman who's so well-rounded and so strong and so multidimensional, has so many layers, and with all these great actors and the man, Stephen.
I'd like a word with my husband.
It's a very interesting and hard kind of movie to make because on the one hand, there's a lot of story, there's a lot of mystery, there's a lot of clues. You must pay attention when you watch the movie. At the same time, Anderton is going through a huge human emotional struggle.
It reminds me of Rosarito Beach. Remember?
It's always fun to have things like that where you know, so you have transformation.
The future is so much more interesting than the past, don't you think?
You know, we have the scene where Michelle Burke, who's makeup artist, came up with a terrific disguise to get back into pre-crime.
Who are you?
I like you, Wally.
Oh, hi, John.
Then we had, in the picture also, I wear brown contacts. I lose my eyes halfway through the film. So I have someone else's eyes in the picture.
Hello, Mr. Yakamoto. Welcome back to the Gap.
Mr. Yakamoto.
I wanted this to be a very human story. There's a lot of different mysteries in our story, but they're all about people. And you meet very colorful characters along the way. And I think Minority Report has a bit of a brotherhood with some of the John Huston film noir mystery stories, because we do meet some of the most compelling characters in the story aren't necessarily the leads of our story. They're the characters that provide information to follow leads and prove innocence or prove guilt.
You'll go blind.
There's very interesting characters that you tiptoe through in trying to unscramble the mystery and trying to figure out the story.
You dig up the past, all you get is dirty.
I'm not gonna get haloed.
You can't run, John.
Everybody runs.
I've done a few pictures, and when they're set up properly, and we have a great team, the same guys that did MI2, and so they know physically what I'm capable of, and they just go in and set it up, and we talk about it, and they kind of bring it over, and we run through it a bit and make some adjustments, and I'm ready to go.
Keith Campbell has been with him for, I think, 10 years. Tom trusts him totally, and what Keith does is work out all the problems. And when Tom comes to the stunt, Keith will explain exactly. You need to put your right foot here, and here's why. You need to move this hand here and grab this because this is happening. You know, he'll go through every little detail of how to shift his body weight and how to move his feet to accomplish the stunt safely. And Tom listens very intently, and so he picks up really fast. In this particular case, it was very controlled because the cars really weren't moving. The harder part is Tom has to react as if it was, as losing his balance, and when he's climbing, you know, you have to take in all those elements that aren't really there. You have a wind machine, yes, but it's not quite the same as the real sensation of falling. So we try to choreograph in the real sensations as we're doing it. He's really good at that kind of stuff, so it makes my job easy that he's so in tune with how his body would react. He's extremely athletic, and he's not afraid of anything. I've got him to think more like a stuntman in that it takes only a very small thing, and the human body gets hurt very easily. And so when you're doing these big stunts that he likes to do himself, it's very important to take it in slow steps. And he has finally on this movie gotten for me where he's in sync, where he is big on the rehearsals, and he's always listened very well. He's always been very athletic.
Oh. Glenn, can you include...
I get it.
Oh my God!
It's extremely unusual, but again, he's really good at it, and it does help the movie tremendously, I think, to see that it's him doing it.
Stephen wanted to do a very elaborate three-dimensional flying chase where cops wearing flying jackets would be chasing Tom down the alley. So we started off looking at locations, and it very quickly realized that it was completely impractical to do any of the rigging involved in a real location, or even the lighting, really. So we went to a backlot at Warner Brothers and really just built an alley that was similar to something in downtown. Wasn't a direct match, but it allowed the Grips to build 30 feet above our rig, the most incredible flying stunt rig.
We had to put up basically our own stage, if you will, in order to travel people up and down the alley. So miles upon miles of truss and wire was put in the whole length of the alley so that we could travel 6 to 8 people at different speeds, different heights, along with the camera, up and down, dragging on the ground, pulling straight up, falling straight down. And that's one of the more difficult sequences.
My immediate reaction was, how am I going to do this?
Fast free fall, they stop right above the car, right like
In the end, we pulled it off, but it was very difficult.
Ready, drop! Great, very good.
All the high falls where he jumped off the building and grabbed one of the pre-crime cops that was coming to arrest him, that was all Tom. He did all those high jumps.
Yes, there was wire removal. Yes, there was an enhancement on the jetpacks. We were putting the flame. But pretty much what you see happened in real life. Those actors are actually descending down from like 90 feet on specially designed rigs.
My number one priority from the very start is safety. That's the first thing I have to deal with. What's very difficult in that situation is anytime someone's flying in this scene, they're on a cable. And anytime someone's on a cable, there's people. It takes a lot of people. Just to make one guy travel through there, fly up and down, it takes 2 to 3 people. So we had 6 people in the air all the time. It's a real challenge to get that many people to move where they're supposed to move and not look like they're hanging on wires.
I think we're going out to the car factory tomorrow to have a look at the location and see where it's going to work out geographically and where we're going to go.
Every movie has the scene that the most time will be spent on. On this film, I would say that it was definitely the car factory. And it involves intensely every single department. Michael Lantieri is involved, props are involved, ILM is involved, you know, our art department's involved, stunts are involved intensely. Tom, therefore, is involved. And not only Tom, but a scene that's probably going to involve 6 to 7 other actors and stuntmen.
I worked with Tom's stunt double Keith as well, just so I don't break Tom's nose or he doesn't break mine. Just on missed punches and body shots and all that kind of stuff.
Nice. Tom, again, he's being chased, and they meet up him in a car factory, which has thousands of robotic arms that are building this car. So I have to work with, we use real robots, actually, to do some of the lifting and fighting transfers of the, onto a crane that was actually at the factory where we're filming. And that combined with a lot of special effects elements, and we end up with a, hopefully, real-looking scene. I crave the newness of and trying to push the envelope of it and keep in the realm of safety. So, and yeah, I do think what we did on this film, we've gone further as far as people flying than has been done. I hope, anyway, in the end, that we've created something that's visually different than has been done before. But I definitely always am striving for that anyway.
The stunts help tell the story. It's science fiction, so you're in the future, so you can have some cool stunts. And it was, that stuff was a lot of fun. They're tricky, but they're a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun seeing Stephen work on the set because he's used to working with a huge crew. And when you're down to it, a lot of times when you have big set pieces like that, a lot of action, he's really able to adjust. And if he has an idea to hold it, grab onto it, and create something even better. But he never loses sight of the film. Never loses sight of his story, never loses sight of his actors, characters in the scene. And it's just fascinating watching how fast he can work and how facile his mind is. It's really something to behold. I mean, he's extraordinary in that way.
Tom's very easy to work with. What Tom responds to are good ideas. He loves a good idea. He loves an idea that isn't quite in the screenplay, but you make it up on the day. He just really responds to that because he's got all his lines memorized, but if you throw a new idea at him that he didn't have a chance to prepare, he gets so excited by that because it just, suddenly he sees all these other layers being offered him, being offered his character. Frightened and it's the same thing, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes fear causes the anger.
It's where he set me up. He set me up.
So Tom absolutely got to the point where I'd give him a couple ideas, and maybe 4 or 5 days would go by where I wouldn't have any new ideas, and Tom would say, come on, more new ideas, let's go. Because if you don't have some, I got about 20 of them. Because Tom was always coming up with new stuff about his character himself.
The relationship between me and a director, it's always been important. It is a director's medium film. It's important that that we're on the same page, that I understand what he's going for and he understands what I'm going for, and that's part of the fun of it, that process. I enjoy that process, working with the director and the actors.
Okay, now we do the stunt. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready. I want to go on a journey with a character. And for me, as the actor going into it, I want to go to a place that I've never been to before. And I like challenging myself. But for me to go there and to invest that kind of time in my life, it's something that I have to be interested in and get excited about. And, you know, it just had all the elements. You've got Steven Spielberg, it's science fiction. You have a wonderful story that's also uniquely humorous. Some very strange things in this picture that I haven't seen before. Right out of the mind of Spielberg.
Right now in my life, I'm in a period where I'm experimenting and I'm trying things that challenge me, and as I challenge myself, I in turn challenge the audience.
Can you see?
And now I feel like I'm just striking out in all directions, trying to find myself, trying to discover myself in my mid-50s, which is why I think films like AI and Minority Report are a little bit experimental for me.
Overhead.
That's all I need. Cut.